I was left behind. I thought I had time.
I am here in the city center and millions are missing.
And this is how it all began. Michael had everything a man could dream of: a mansion on the hill, a Porsche gleaming in the driveway, a wife dressed in luxury. But beneath the glamour was a storm, a life built on borrowed peace and empty pride. Behind the mansion walls, the shine began to fade. Bills piled up like mountains. Calls came in from every direction. Michael tried to hold it all together, but his world was built on lies, credit, and fear. His wife saw luxury, he saw collapse. In his search for peace, Michael turned to the only man who had ever spoken truth into his chaos, his pastor. With hope flickering like a dying candle, he came seeking counsel. But even here, the voice of pride whispered louder than the call of wisdom.
Michael, God's peace is greater than your worry. When the weight of the world feels too heavy, remember whose hands are holding yours.
Vanessa seems unwilling to embrace a modest lifestyle and regrets going with Michael to seek their pastor's counsel. The pastor's words were seeds of truth, but the soil of their hearts was divided. For where pride reigns, wisdom seldom takes root. Back at home, the weight of debt pressed harder. The mansion, once a symbol of success, now felt like a prison. Vanessa, seeing no other way, whispered a dangerous solution, one that would betray every principle Michael held dear. And in the silence of the night, temptation found its way into a good man's heart. The weight of debt and the persistent whispers of temptation became too loud to resist. In the quiet of his study, Michael made a choice, one that would forever alter the course of his soul. The laptop glowed before him, a tool of provision and betrayal. Days passed, yet the memory of what he had done lingered like a shadow he could not shake. Michael forced himself through routines, hitting the gym to exhaust his mind and body. But the stolen money, the betrayal, clung to him. Exhausted, he returned home and lay down for a nap, hoping sleep could bury the storm in his conscience. Yet it waited. From the heavens, a mighty angel appeared, radiant and colossal. The trumpet sounded, piercing every ear across the globe, calling God's chosen to arise. The earth trembled beneath the weight of the moment, and the saints who died in the Lord rose from the grave. Then the saints who were alive were caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And then, silence was broken by confusion. Across the world, chaos. Planes fell from the skies, cars crashed into one another, families vanished in an instant. No one could explain what happened. News anchors struggled for words, the screens filled with breaking reports, emergency alerts, live feeds, and panicked faces. Social media flooded with videos, cries, and disbelief. But the world knew something beyond human had just occurred. The saints were gone.
I am here in the city center and millions are missing.
This is key reporting from 9 News. Many are rushing into churches seeking answers to the missing people saga.
Michael and Vanessa raced through the empty, chaotic streets, hearts pounding. But when they reached the pastor's house, it was empty. A jacket, shoes, and an open Bible were all that remained. Michael sank to his knees, gripping his shirt and tearing it in anguish, head thrown back, a raw scream of guilt and despair escaping him. The world had changed in an instant, and the pastor, like so many others, was gone. The churches, all were filled with hearts heavy with regret. People frantically searched for their Bibles, remembering the warning. Christ would come without notice. But it was too late. They were left behind. Suddenly, the earth split open. Dragons erupted, fire streaming from their mouths, devouring anyone in their path. Streets burned as people screamed, running in terror. Dawn. Michael and Vanessa, trapped in the chaos, could not escape the wrath around them. Surrounded by fire, destruction, and the monstrous beasts, their screams echoed in the void as their lives were violently torn away. In that moment, all hope was lost, and the world claimed them. The alarm clock blared, jolting Michael awake. Heart pounding and drenched in sweat, he gasped for breath. Slowly, the terror of the nightmare faded, and he realized it had all been a dream. In deep remorse, Michael falls to his knees beside his bed.
Lord, forgive me.
Turning to Vanessa, he pleaded for them to confess their actions to the pastor. But his wife refused to listen, yet conviction gripped his heart. He stood firm and walked out, determined to make things right. At the church, Michael poured out everything: the lies, the money, the betrayal. The pastor placed his gentle hands on his head as he prayed and said,
God forgives the humble, my son. But you must return what was taken and walk in humility.
I will, Pastor, no matter the cost.
Though the past cannot be undone, mercy opens the door to a new dawn. For those who turn back, grace still whispers, "Come home."